Hello, this is Gavin Gaddis in for Tom Webster, who currently is at an indeterminate location somewhere in Europe. Good luck finding him. This is Sounds Profitable for Wednesday, July 10th, 2024. Tom's article, What Border Collies Can Teach Us About Podcasting. But first, I have a quick update. Last call for our extended submission period of the Podscape's mid-year update. The deadline's coming up fast. If you would like to get your company that's in the business of podcasting added to or updated in Magellan AI and Sounds Profitable's bird's eye view of the industry, submit now. Submissions close on Friday, July 12th. Link is in the show notes or on the website version of this newsletter at soundsprofitable.com. Now for Tom's article, which I will deliver in the first person using a pitch-perfect Tom impersonation and not just me reading it aloud. Almost everything I learned about putting a successful show together, I learned from my dogs. Dogs are loyal and loving, but they also have expectations, and they let you hear about it if you get them into the habit of expecting a snack at noon and then skip that snack. For many years, I owned a succession of border collies who were long my favorite breed, until I got a greyhound which ruined me for other dogs. Border collies are ferociously intelligent. You have never seen a dog more able to hold its focus, solve problems, or instinctively know what you want them to do without so much as a word. For a while, I owned two of them at the same time, an old cagey vet and a wily rookie on the same team. One such dog is practically a tool user. Two, they can get up to all kinds of mischief. What I learned about the breed was that they need a job. They aren't the kind of dog that you can just walk in the morning and then give the run of the house all day long. They need something to do, or some kind of regular mental stimulation, or they will demonstrate many alternate uses for your shoes other than their design purpose. Without something to do, the Border Collie is capable of wreaking havoc on your house. Turns out the same is true of podcast hosts. There's one podcast I listen to every now and then that regularly has 5 co-hosts, and I'm not sure why. They don't have jobs, I can't tell them apart. I don't know why they're all there or what any one contributes over the others. Each topic is dealt with as a succession of, well, let's find out what you think, host 5. These kinds of shows absolutely lose me, and this is my business. When I have told this story before, some smart listeners have commented that I still listen to the show. Yeah, I do, but I don't recommend it, and I never will while it's still a hot mess of tangled points of view and indistinguishable voices. Everybody on your show, like my beloved Border Collies, needs a job. The way that manifests itself in podcasting is that each participant in a podcast should have a defined role and should have a distinct, audience-focused goal. If there are multiple voices on your podcast all saying, I agree with host 3 all the time, congratulations, you have a conference panel, not a show. Shows have characters, and listeners need to be able to tell those characters apart. By the way, even the biggest shows have this problem. I once did audience research for the Bob and Tom Show, one of the biggest syndicated morning shows in radio and the radio home of stand-up comedy in this country. Any comic who went through Indianapolis, the home of the show, made a stop on Bob and Tom to do part of their set and kibitz with the hosts. Tom Griswold still hosting as of this writing, and his partner, the now retired Bob Kavoyan. One of the main things that we heard in that research, even from some of the biggest fans of the show, was that they couldn't tell Bob and Tom apart, especially when they would both start laughing at the guests' jokes. Now, this may or may not have been a show-stopping problem for Bob and Tom, but they had the benefit of the nation's best comics doing their material regularly. If you don't have that going for you, it might be time to tighten things up. The best way to do this is to imagine the different points of view that your audience might hold about a topic and to be sure that someone on the show is championing or at least speaking to that point of view so that the listener feels heard and seen. It doesn't mean they have to hold a particular opinion, but their character, the person that they are when they are a podcast host, not someone's shopping in a grocery store, has to represent that role for the audience. In big radio morning shows, you often see a construct known inside the industry as the dick, the dork, and the deer. I'm not recommending you do this for your podcast, by the way. The formula for this particular flavor of show is that there's someone who plays the dick, or antagonist, the dork, who doesn't really fit into the conventional construct of a radio host, but is there to create friction, and the deer, who represents the heart of the show and the person most likely to be someone the listener would call a friend in real life. If you think about a station that appeals mostly to women, but also their husbands, it's easy to imagine how this all plays out. The dork talks about an embarrassing situation that they recently encountered, the dick says something jerky about it, and the deer gives the dick his or her comeuppance. Sometimes the deer is there to tell the dick, oh, you can't say that, which is what most of the audience will think, while the dick's job is to actually say it, even though the show rallies against them. It's why Howard Stern didn't work without Robin Quivers. or why Inside the NBA, the TNT halftime show that features Shaquille O'Neal and Charles Barkley, doesn't work without Ernie Johnson, the broadcaster, being there to say, Chuck, you can't say that. But Howard and Chuck did say that, and you either found it funny or you rallied behind the deer when they put them in their place. Now, your podcast doesn't need a dick, a dork, and a deer, but everyone should have a job where they're just running around the house chewing up shoes. If your current cast doesn't have clearly defined roles and goals for the host, then you either need to figure them out, reduce the number of voices on the show, or get smarter friends, I guess. You aren't there for them, you're there for the listener. Thanks again for listening to Tom's article, What Border Collies Can Teach Us About Podcasting. This episode is hosted on Spreaker. I'm Gavin Gaddis, in for Tom Webster, and I'll see you next week. Or Tom will see you next week. One of us will. We see everything.